Do you want your sales team showing up ready to close more jobs? Start here. Today, Riley Brown will show you exactly how to run weekly stand-up meetings, what KPIs to track that actually move close rates, and how to coach sales reps back into hitting $18,000 average projects and 30 to 35% close rates.
This is something that was new to me in the roofing industry when I was at my previous employer, and this is stand-up calls. This is something that I did with my sales team every single morning at 8 a.m. Stand-up calls are as simple as having like a team group chat. What this does is a couple things. One, it ensures everyone is up and running and ready to tackle the day. Hey, how was your day? It starts it up with a win, and it should be like a hype meeting. Hey, we're ready to tackle this day. Did we run into any problems yesterday? Yes, no. We run into any like one-off appointments that you guys need advice from? Oh yeah, I had this husband that was drinking a little too much. I didn't feel comfortable making that sale because he was intoxicated. That's okay. Make sure to give him a call today to see if he still wants to move through with it, whatever the case may be. It also gives your future leaders a chance to bond as a team. It ultimately shows your current team leaders care enough to call you every single day. It doesn't have to be all work related, but it also instills friendships. People work harder for friends than they do for bosses. That's going to be the biggest thing. Which brings me to my next point. Another type of meeting that you guys should be having are weekly sales meetings. During these sales meetings, you can talk about company-wide numbers, talk about people who had killer weeks, and don't be afraid, talk about people who are struggling. In an independent job like inside-outside sales, if you're having a bad week, you don't want to be called out. It's easy to hide in the shadow in the corner of the room and, oh, I hope he doesn't call on me. I hope he doesn't put my numbers on the presentation. It's your job to bring them out. Calling people out for having a bad week has a negative connotation, but it's all about how you go about it. Simplest way is take the two best sales reps for the week. And then on top of that, take the two sales reps with the lowest numbers and ask them in front of the room, what struggles are you going through? What has changed from last week when you were doing a little bit better? And is there anything that we can do to help? That can be one, on a group level in front of the entire sales meeting, or two, if you guys aren't comfortable, then have it on like a sales mentor level, just one-on-one. But this needs to be happening, I would say, at least weekly to make sure everybody's staying on track. So just because a sales rep is going through a drought, he or she hasn't sold in 2 weeks, that doesn't mean they need to be fired. They need to be coached, have extra support, and ensure that they are sticking to the process. And on top of that, it's the owner's important leverage, I should say, to have a good process, to make sure that your specific process works. And then a couple KPIs to talk about. Close percentage. Obviously, their main goal on all three products, windows, roofing, and siding, was 30 to 35%. Average dollar and average project cost should be around $18,000. Now, there's a bunch of ways that you guys can implement that or increase that. You guys could get lucky and say, hey, I just went on 2 roofing appointments. The roof was 2,600 square feet. The projects happened to be 26K. Awesome. So you guys have 2 projects at a 26K average dollar. But if you guys go to a single story home and their roof is 800 square feet, that's not reaching that $18,000 mark. So what else can you upsell? Gross to net is going to be sales and total volume. So how many of their projects went good past the 3-day right to rescission? So your gross to net or my gross to net, my goal was 92%. I gave myself 8% of cancellations, 1 out of every 12, 1 out of every 11, I expected to cancel. On a total volume wise, your cancellation should not go past 5% of your total volume. If it is, that means that you guys on bigger projects are doing something wrong. I know there's really a lot of excitement and emotion of, man, I just had a 47K laydown. Awesome. We're hyped up. We're excited. We're trying to present normal to the homeowner because we're being indifferent. But a lot of things can be missed that are required to ensure that 47K project goes past the 3-day right to rescission because they can still cancel. Demo percentage. How many times a sales rep gets to the appointment and they have to no demo? My demo percentage, my goal was 90%. Now, with my previous employer, Power, they had a little bit of an interesting setup for demo percentage. The sales reps were allowed to no demo if only one homeowner was at the house. So if the husband was home and he was like, yep, my wife, she doesn't need to know about this. She doesn't take care of the finances. She's at work, yada, yada, yada. That's not a good selling situation for me. I already know walking in, that's going to be one hell of an appointment. I'm going to have to get the wife on the phone. I'm going to have to get her on FaceTime. I'm going to have to get her home from work. I'm going to have to do something with the wife in order to make this sale, because no matter how big bad a man is, he ain't making a $40,000 decision without his wife being there or at least having a say. That's what I experienced. Those are very, very difficult appointments to sell. So is that something that you guys can do better on the front end? Can you guys pre-qualify better? Can you guys add a question when you guys are scheduling an appointment saying, hey, just to make sure both you and the wife or both you and your husband will be home, because we want to make sure that we give the knowledge best to both parties. Because again, no matter how many times you tell somebody something about their roof, they're not going to write down every single thing that you said and be able to translate it well to the wife or be able to translate it well to the husband. When you're talking about fascia boards and you're talking about gutters and you're talking about rotted decking and you're talking about ice and water shield, like how you don't have any. A normal person doesn't have any of those roofing experiences, so they're not going to be able to portray that to the other party when they get home, like they say they will. And then dollar per issue may be a little bit of a new one for you guys as well. That is going to be your overall volume divided by your total appointments run. Let's say in a month you have $100,000 worth of sales, and in that month you ran 20 appointments. Your DPI, your dollar per issue, is $5,000. That just gives a basic overall number of your month. If your DPI was above 4,500, you knew as a whole you were doing well. You were doing above average. And then obviously if it were underneath, something was happening wrong. Now, guys, these numbers are going to be different per market. I'm just trying to encapsulate you guys and open your guys' minds to there's a lot of things that can cause a homeowner to say no or cause a sales rep to not be able to make that sale. And being cognizant of that increases the culture, increases the trust, makes the sales rep work harder for you because they realize you guys understand. That's your guys' reps. If you succeed as a business, they succeed as a sales rep.